And we welcome you to the Alderson's Awards West postgame show for trophies, awards, t-shirts, and so much more. Head to aldersons.net for their full catalog. Tyler Hergert joined alongside Brian Watson for this one as we saw the Napavine Tigers take this one over Forks 54-10 as they were able to cap off senior night with a positive note. Did the Napavine Tigers, but Forks, they were able to have themselves a good fourth quarter too. They played very tough all the way through the end of this ball game. Third quarter was a little bit rough for Forks with some turnovers, but they've got to like what they saw in the first half and in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Forks played hard. Then they didn't quit. They came out of the locker room, and they did have a tough third quarter, but they finished strong. They were able to finish strong in the fourth quarter and something to build on, so they can be proud of themselves for that.
Yeah, and credit to the effort and the attitude from those young men out on the field. There's a lot of, we talked about it a lot, a lot of non-seniors out on the field for Forks, and they weren't playing like they were down by, 40-plus points. They were acting as if they were in the ball game, giving each other chest bumps, really supporting each other, and that's a really positive environment for them, and you can tell that there's a lot of talent on that team, and they're going to be a force in a couple of years.
Yeah, they really do have some young, talented kids, and it'll be fun to watch them develop over the next couple of years.
And then you take a look at the Napavine side. They were able to be very consistent. That was consistency. That's what Coach Fay was looking for in this ball game. They score on every single possession but two, and those were the final two possessions where they had a high snap, and they had a turnover on downs. The starters weren't in for those, right. But on the drives the starters were in, a perfect 7 for 7.
Yeah, boy, they sure did great. The offense was moving the ball. We talked about their identity, about running behind those big offensive linemen, and Grady Wilson just taking that ball and leading this team, and Colin Shields and Carson Denault. It's a very similar team with Napavine in that they have a ton of weapons, but it's a little bit different in that they're more of a grinded-out running team. Caleb Von Pressenton as well. So it'll be fun to watch them over the next few weeks as we get into the playoffs to see if they can have that same kind of success against some of these better teams.
And you know that they're going to be looking at the penalties, right? That's the thing that we saw in the first half. Not that many in the second half, but in the first half, a lot of penalties backed them up. Now, their offense is so potent that they're able to make up for it, but as we're talking about the playoffs, let's not kid ourselves. This is a state playoff-type team. You can't have those mistakes, especially when you get up against one of those teams that can score early and can score often.
Absolutely. You're playing against an Okanagan or non-Alaska. You get into a 3rd and long because of some penalties, you're not going to be able to get those big chunk plays. So you're absolutely right. They got to clean some of that stuff up.
And also, you might not be able to have the luxury of playing on your home field as well. So that's another thing, too, to keep in mind. So a lot of things at stake here for Napavine. But, Grady Wilson taking over the offense. First year as the starting quarterback. He's looking more and more comfortable each game, not just running, but throwing.
He's a football player, man. He makes plays. He runs hard. He leads his team. Been real impressed with him. And he's throwing the ball well. You look at some of those downfield throws. Those are on the money.
Yep.
And he throws well on the run as well. So that helps with a dual-threat quarterback. When you're able to roll out and still put that ball on the money, he's a dual threat, an absolute dual threat out there.
Yeah, and he was able to make some defensive plays, too. We talked about Colin Shields making plays both ways, but our MVP of the evening is brought to you by our friends at the Thorbeck's Wellness Centers. Strong today, stronger tomorrow, strongest together at Thorbeck's. And our game MVP has to go to Carson Denault. Did a little bit of everything, caught some touchdown passes, had fumble recoveries, had a 70-plus yard punt, did a little bit of everything for Napavine. That's expected, but to do it on senior night, too, has to feel a little extra good.
Yeah, he does everything for the Tigers. And, I've been real impressed with him defensively as well. Gets his hands on the football. He had that interception.
Yep.
He's also flying around and making plays, making hard hits. So we know what he's going to bring to the table offensively. But this year so far, and tonight especially, defensively, he's been really, really good.
Something Coach Fay mentioned in the pregame when we were chatting was he really liked his leadership, too. Him evolving from being one of those younger players looking up to players to being the player that's being looked up to now. Yeah. And the fact that, he might have the ball. he handled the ball, less than 5 times last game, but he is just as excited when other players score or other players make big plays, and that is what you need from those senior leaders.
That's a point of a good program, right? You have those senior leaders that really are the good examples, and then those young kids, they see that, and what do? They reciprocate it, and they teach the other guys, and that just kind of, it's a culture, and it's a program that just year after year, you see that on the field with the Tigers.
Yeah, as we were hoping to get Carson out here for an interview, but I think he is celebrating with his teammates in the locker room. After all, maybe might be warming up too on this Thursday night.
I can't blame him for staying in there.
Yeah, I don't blame him either. So I think we'll have to punt on that for next time, as we'll maybe a 71-yard punt as well. But Carson, congratulations on winning our game MVP. So that'll do it for us. We're gonna warm up. We're gonna get ready for some more football tomorrow night, and then we've got soccer and football on Saturday as well. EliSportsNetwork.com is where you can be up to date on all of that. So for Brian Watson, I'm Tyler Hergert signing off. Napavine, they win this one 54-10 over Forks, and we'll see you next time on the Eli Sports and NFHS networks.